My dear students of Standard 6, it's a very good morning and welcome back to my today's class. Hopefully you all are doing great at home. Today I am going to discuss on chapter 4. It's the new chapter. That is, what's the name of that chapter? Let's follow. Here you are observing the map of Bangladesh with a largest number of population. So, you know, population is a great resource for the development of a country, and this population of a country has to be proportionate to its size or area. This population has to be skilled human resource. This population transformed into a skilled human resource can become a factor in speedy development of a country. But on the other hand, an unskilled population is a burden for the country. So, the number of people in our country is more in comparison to its area. So, today I am going to discuss on the chapter Introduction to Population of Bangladesh. In previous classes, that means 3, 4 and 5, you have learned about the state of population of Bangladesh. But you have not learned nothing about the demography. So in this chapter, we will know about demography and various elements that influence the change of population. So let's know about the demography, or the subject is the population science. That means we can say demography is called the population science, the subject which deals about the population. So follow here, analyzing the word demography, two words are found. One is demos, which means people, and the other is graphy, which means measurement or description or quantity. So demography means the calculation or description of population. So we can say the calculation or measurement of population related facts of a location or state is called the demography, and it is also called the population science. So in a particular time, how many babies are born, how many people die, how many people of which age live, and how many are married, how many have migrated to other places, or how many have come from other places can be calculated. Let's know about population. The word population is derived from the Latin word populus, that means people. The population is one of the important factors which helps to balance the environment. The population should in a balance with the means and resources. The total number of people living in a particular area in a particular time is known as the population. But the number of people in our country is more in comparison to its area. And now, what's the density of the population of our country? Do you know? That is 1015. That means 1015 people live in per square kilometer in our country, according to the census report of 2011. So let's know some important features about the population of Bangladesh. We know Bangladesh is a densely populated country, and Bangladesh is the 8th largest populated country in the world. And what is the area? That is 1,47,570 square kilometer. And according to the census report of 2011, the total population of Bangladesh is 14,97,72,364. And how many people live in per square kilometer? That means what is the density? 1015 people live in per square kilometer. And presently, the annual growth rate of population is 1037%. Now, we will know the dominant factors for change of population. What are the dominant factors or dominant elements for changing population of our country? The 5 major factors, that is birth rate, mortality rate, migration, marriage, and social mobility. That means population's ability to change is called this changeability of population, and this changeability of population depends on some chief factors. These 5 factors are known as the major elements for changing a population of country. Now one by one we will know. First we will know about the birth rate. Birth rate is the demographic measure of the rate at which children are born, and the most well known is the crude birth rate, which is the number of births that occur each year per 1,000 people in the mid-year population. That means generally birth rate, the number of living children born to every 1,000 women of a particular country in a particular time, and the increase of birth rate is one of the reasons for the increase of population. And in the countries like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, etc., the birth rate is high. But in which countries the birth rate is low? The countries' name are USA, Canada, Australia. That means the developed country. Now let's know about the mortality rate or death rate. Usually the end of life is called death. Mortality rate is the measure of the number of deaths in general or due to a specific cause in a particular population, scaled to the size of that population per unit of time. Mortality rate is typically expressed in units of deaths per 1,000 individuals per year. That means we can say mortality rate is also measured in per 1,000 like the birth rate, and it is determined by how many people of a certain age die in per 1,000 people. Decrease of mortality rate is one of the reasons for increase of population. And now due to the advancement of medical science and depending on the other factors, that means massive registration of boys and girls in primary secondary education, different programs to ensure women's rights and emancipation, mass awareness program in favor of keeping the family small, etc. These are the factors to decrease the mortality rate. So we can say decrease of mortality rate is one of the reasons for increasing of population. And here development of medical science and other technologies has resulted in the decrease of mortality rate in Bangladesh for some decades. What about following the year 1990? The mortality rate of below 5-year-old children was 144 in per 1,000, but in the year 2015 child mortality rate was 38 in per 1,000, and depends on that in the year 2010 Bangladesh government achieved success in reducing infant mortality rate. Next we will know about the migration. What is migration? Human migration is the movement of people from one place to another with the intentions of settling permanently or temporarily at a new location. In Bengali, migration is known as Boshoti Sthanantor. That means change of settlement. So when someone leaves their place to go to another place, it is called the migration. And this migration may take place both in internal and international arenas. So what about the types of migration? There are basically two types of migration, internal and international migration. And types of internal migration depends rural to urban area, urban to rural area, inter-urban, intra-urban, and rural to rural area. So what about internal migration? Internal migration or domestic migration is human migration within one geopolitical entity, usually a nation state. So when people move from one place to another inside the country, it is called the internal migration. And there is intra-regional migration also, that means people movement from one place to another within a region. Suppose village to village, village to town, town to village, town to town, etc. These are the kind of internal migration. And for this internal migration, the economic cause is the sole responsible. Now follow international migration. International migration occurs when people cross state boundaries and stay in the host state for minimum length of time. So we can say transfer from one independent country to another for job, marriage, residence and even citizenship. However, so if migration takes place within the country, so the total population does not increase or decrease. But if migration takes place from one country to another country, then the total population will be changed. Now I will discuss about the another one dominant factors, that is the marriage. Conventionally the people of our country get married at a relatively tender age or early age. It is one of the major reasons for increase of birth rate. In our country, early marriage has been officially banned, and our government has taken the initiatives for this early marriage, that is to ensure the registration of marriage at the Kaji office. Here government has given the emphasis on this. And another one, the marriage age for the boys is 21 and the girls 18. Now I am going to discuss another factor, that is social mobility. What does it mean? Social mobility means the change of social status. For example, if a member of a poor family getting highly educated becomes a high official, his status will change. As a result, his consciousness will increase and he will keep the number of children at a logical level. So it will make or help to keep the family small and our country population will not increase. Now we will know the causes of migration, why the population changed the place. I told you economic cause is the sole responsible for migration. People migrate from one country to another country in the hope of more income, because our country is not that much developed and our country is unable to fulfill our basic 5 demands. Migrates for business purposes, being affected by natural disasters. And you know, Bangladesh is a disaster prone country. Every year we face a lot of disasters, say for example flood, drought, waterlogging and river erosion. So people from the river erosion areas are rushing to the cities for their survival. Poverty, one of the major causes of migration, we can say. So poverty, need and many other reasons are also forcing a portion of rural people to the cities for their survival. Another reason, advanced state of education, health service, provision of higher dignity and medical facilities, luxurious lifestyle of cities, better employment opportunities, better scope for investment in trade and commerce, establishment of different types of industries like garments, leather industries in town and cities, better communication and transportation system, migrates in the hope of attractive elements like advanced civil rights and opportunities, recreation and good environment, migrates because of wars. For example, we can say at present, many people of the Middle East are migrating to the European countries because of wars. Now we will know impact of migration. Internal migration has both good and bad impacts in Bangladesh. First, I will tell you about the good impact. These migrants are sending their earned money to the villages and bearing the monthly expenses. The excess amount is again invested in agricultural and non-agricultural production sectors. So in this way, the rural area is developing day by day. But another thing follow. Insolvent rural women have benefited mostly. Today, ready-made garments industries are employing a huge number of women laborers. They are working. So now their family status has increased. They have self-reliant and self-sufficient, they get more opportunity to express their opinion and decision. They also enjoy some benefits of advanced lifestyle, and they side by side they are sending their children for education. Now I will discuss about the bad impact of migration. Follow. Slums have been created to accommodate these migrants in the towns and cities. For this reason, what happened? Spoiling the environment. Tendency grows towards crime, smuggling, kidnapping, drug addiction, human smuggling or human trafficking, etc. Social indiscipline and anarchy create many diseases spread from these slums due to environmental pollution, increasing the urban population because the rural people is trying to settle in the urban area. The demand of daily necessaries is increased. Impact of international migration. International migration is highly beneficial for Bangladesh because remittance sent from abroad is invested in agriculture and industries, banking services, garments industries, and many other profitable sectors. Consequently, production in different sectors is increased, and again, a portion of this production is exported abroad. So, our country is getting developed day by day. It also facilitates jobs and employment. Our life and livelihood is developed for this. But negative impact also due to this internal migration, that is some viruses including HIV or AIDS have spread in this country due to these immigrants person, and some social and cultural problems also arise due to the international migration. So, dear students of Standard 6, thank you all. Today up to this, stay home and stay safe.